They were put up for sale because they were labeled sterile. Morning light stretched across the spotless white floors of the renewal center, casting long cold shadows that made the place feel more like a laboratory than a building meant for living beings. This was where the unwanted were processed, cataloged, evaluated, and reduced to data points before being sold. In Pod 7, 3 women sat side by side on identical metal benches. Their green skin marked them instantly as Xerithians, a species prized across the galaxy for their strength, long lifespans, and above all their extraordinary fertility. For most Xerithians, that single trait guaranteed comfort, luxury, and protection. But not for these 3. Kessa stared at the barcode tattooed on her wrist. A red stripe cut cleanly through it like a wound never heal. In the renewal center system, red meant final. Red meant sterile. Red meant non-reproductive. Red meant worthless. Beside her, her sisters Mira and Fane sat in silence. They hadn't spoken much since the final test results came back. That was the moment the administrators moved them from the premium wing to this forgotten corner of the facility where the unusable stock waited to be cleared out. Lot 47C, a flat voice announced over the speaker. 3 Xerithian females. Ages 22 to 26. Sterility confirmed. Opening bid, 500 credits for all 3. Kessa clenched her jaw. Just 1 week earlier, a single fertile Xerithian woman would have sold for 50,000 credits. Now all 3 of them together weren't worth more than a damaged transport pod. Through the observation glass, she could see the bidders. There weren't many. Most looked bored, scrolling through their tablets, waiting for something valuable. A few glanced up briefly, curiosity flickering, then looked away again. 500, someone said without enthusiasm. 525, another voice followed. Irritated at having to participate, the auctioneer repeated the numbers. Without emotion, Mira's hand slid into Kessa's, on her other side. Fane's shoulders trembled as silent tears ran down her face. 525. Going once. This was it. They would be separated. Sent to labor colonies. Mining stations. Or worse. The renewal center didn't waste space on sterile assets. 600. The voice was quiet, but steady. Kessa looked up sharply. At the back of the auction room stood a human man. Mid-30s maybe. Tired eyes. Worn clothes that suggested years of overwork. He held his tablet awkwardly, like someone who didn't belong in a place like this. 600, going once. Going twice. No one countered. Sold. Bidder 23. 600 credits. The ride to their new owner's home was long and silent. The 3 sisters sat in the back of an aging hover van, fresh ownership codes glowing faintly on their wrists. The man introduced himself simply as Marcus. He didn't talk much. Occasionally, he glanced at them in the rearview mirror with an expression Kessa couldn't quite read. They stopped outside, a small house on the outskirts of New Seattle, far from the polished towers of the city center. The place looked worn, but cared for. The yard was overgrown. The paint faded. This wasn't where fertile Xerithians usually ended up. Marcus parked and turned to face them. "You're probably wondering what I expect from you," he said quietly. "The truth is, I need help. And maybe you need something too." Inside, the house was cluttered but clean. Toys lay scattered across the living room. Children's drawings covered the refrigerator. Family photos lined the hallway, most of them featuring Marcus and a smiling woman with dark hair. "Dad!" A small voice called from upstairs. "Coming, Emma," Marcus replied. He looked back at the sisters. "My wife, Sarah, died 8 months ago. Cancer. I have 2 kids. Emma is 7. Jacob is 5. I work double shifts at the manufacturing plant, but it's still not enough. I'm not there when they wake up. I'm not there when they go to bed. Something shifted inside Kessa's chest. You bought us to be caregivers, she said carefully. No, Marcus said, meeting her eyes. I bought you to be free. He showed them the contract. Room and board. A small salary. After 1 year, I file for your emancipation. You'll be citizens, not property. You can leave, stay, do whatever you want. I just need help for 1 year. My kids need stability, and I can't do this alone anymore. Mira stepped forward. Why us? Marcus's expression hardened. Because the system that calls you defective is broken. Because you deserve better than being thrown away. And because... His voice cracked slightly. I know what it feels like to be seen as useless. After Sarah died, people told him he couldn't handle it. That he should give up his kids and start over. But they're my world, he said quietly. Just like you're not defective, you're just different than what people expected. That doesn't make you less valuable. Footsteps thundered down the stairs. A little girl with pigtails and missing front teeth ran into the room. Followed by a small boy clutching a stuffed dinosaur. Emma stopped short, staring wide-eyed. Whoa, you're green. Manners, Marcus said gently. Kessa smiled for the first time in weeks. She knelt down. We are green. I'm Kessa. These are my sisters Mira and Fane. Are you gonna live with us? Jacob asked. If that's okay with you, Fane said softly. Emma grinned. That's awesome. That night, the sisters sat in their shared room. Staring out a window that showed real stars, Kessa touched the red stripe on her wrist. Maybe Worth had never been about biology. Down the hall, Emma's sleepy voice drifted through the walls. Dad, I like them. Kessa closed her eyes. They had been sold. Labeled broken. But tomorrow they would wake up in a home, not a holding cell. And maybe, just maybe, they would learn that being sterile had never been what defined them at all.